I might be wrong, but according to my calculations, it is only 17 days left until competition. I also remember that there's one thing I forgot to tell you guys last week, and that is regarding deload. I'm actually gonna do a full deload week this week. I'm also a bit unsure if I mentioned this, like how I structure deload weeks, but let's just do it again. It's definitely worth mentioning. So usually I would have a deload about every 5 weeks if I have a decent progressive overload. So I'm always putting more and more pressure on the body, and then every 5 weeks, that's a pretty good number. It's been working pretty well for me. But if I have competition, I always need to adapt. So even if I did have a deload not 5 weeks ago, a bit shorter, maybe it was 3 weeks ago or even a bit less, I'm still gonna have my deload. And the reason is because it's 3 weeks only before competition. So if I have my deload this week, it's gonna be low intensity. It's good for my body to recover properly. There we have it. And then it usually takes about 1 week to then get back into the routines and get back like the muscle connection and everything. Because after the deload week, I haven't really been pushing my limits, and therefore my body is a bit unused to, for example, the max hold in full planche Maltese. And then usually takes about 1 week to get that strength, which means that I want to have that one not the week I'm competing. I want to have 1 week in margin. So next week is then gonna be that recovery week, or coming back into the routines where I'm gonna be comfortable with the skills again. And then I have a few days of just training normal before competition, and then I will have 2 complete rest days like directly before the comp. So competition is on a Saturday, my last workout will be on a Thursday. That's really the plan. And today we are back with planche training. On Saturday I was supposed to do planche, but I did freestyle instead because the weather was pretty good, so I had to change that, which meant that I of course skipped the planche workout, which isn't all that bad. It just means that I haven't done it in a while. It's gonna be interesting to see, because the last workout I did, it wasn't the best one. I think that's the one where I did swear a lot. Those workouts happen from time to time as well. I also want to say, if you're new to the channel, I've been posting some freestyle sessions just a few vlogs ago. So if you haven't seen them, make sure to check them out as well. It's a bit different style in the sport. I feel like static, that's one part. A lot of people can sort of relate to how hard it is, because that's the fascinating part. Like when I show calisthenics to people, they get more fascinated when I'm doing like planche, one-arm handstand and stuff, and when I show myself doing freestyle, they of course still thinks it's impressive, but not in the same way. But in my opinion, since I'm an athlete, for me it's almost the same. Like if someone were to do a really sick freestyle move, I value that extremely high as well. But for the just normal person that's not into calisthenics, seems like the statics is what people can relate to and think it's the most impressive. But of course that depends. Actually, drop a comment what you think. Do you think statics is more impressive or freestyle? And I mean high level in both, of course, not just like a back lever compared to a front flip regrab. Doesn't work. I haven't really planned which days I'm gonna train freestyle and static, that combination, because I'm dependent on the weather. So these weeks, the upcoming weeks now, they might be a bit, unstructured. I'm still gonna vlog everything I do, or all the static session especially, but I can't say for sure which days they are gonna be, because that's gonna be different depending on the weather, when I can perform freestyle or not. Something I've been doing in the past as well is I actually do freestyle 3 times per week before competition, just to get extremely comfortable with the freestyle part, because that's what I want to have confidence in. I want to make sure that it's the freestyle that I have. The common thing that you fail in comp is not gonna be the planche, it's the freestyle. It's the dynamics moves. That's when you can fail, you can fly off, you can slip, you can land it the wrong way, so you maybe can't continue the combo, all that stuff. And that's the freestyle part that I want to get really solid. When it comes to statics and things, it's not usually the problem. Of course you can have a bad day and the holds may be a bit worse, but in general, if I have a planche now, I can count on it that I will have it on competition as well. Those are pretty corresponding. Yeah, that's the plan. Let's go up, hit the planche workout, and hopefully it's a pretty good one. That's one I did swear a lot. I'm gonna try to skip that part today. I can't be sure. So I'll see you guys up there. Let's get started. First up, full planche push-up to 1-2 second hold. And the difference now, since it's deload compared to my last week, is just the resistance band. And that's what I absolutely love about resistance band training, is that the easiest way, and it's extremely simple, to reduce the intensity is just to grab a thicker band. So I'm pretty much gonna do the same things that I did before, just add a thicker band, which means that it's gonna be lighter on the muscles. I'll be able to have a longer hold to some degree. I'm still gonna keep it pretty short, because if I increase the holds a lot, it's still gonna be high intensity in another way, if that makes sense, than just changing the sort of structure. So just adding a thicker band will have good connection. The things I'm doing now is just gonna be way easier than before. And I think that's gonna be the plan. I'm gonna do 3 sets actually of these things. Since I'm using this band, it's gonna be way lighter on the muscles. So I think 3 sets is still gonna be pretty good. 2 sets would be a bit too little in my opinion. But we'll see. If I feel tired after this session, might have to rethink it for the next session. Pretty solid for being first set. And again, I am using the 10 to 30 kg resistance band, if you're wondering. But since it's way more help than I'm usually training with, I can have it pretty controlled, pretty slow reps as well, and I have a good form. I don't know, the last reps might have been a bit low with the legs, but in general, this helps a lot. It was still a bit rough though. It wasn't like I could sleep in the movement. I still had to put out pretty high level of power. Let's do 2 more sets and see how it feels. There's no people in the gym, so let's go shirtless and we can see the form a bit better. I'm also pretty warm. It's not warm outside, but in Sweden we are getting positive degrees. We had minus for a long time, and now when it's turning out and we're changing and we're getting some sun, some heat. A lot of buildings, they're not used to that switch, so the heaters are still on and the sun is shining, which makes it pretty warm everywhere. I'm not gonna complain though. It's nice that we're getting some sun. The whole of Sweden needs some vitamin D, because it's a lackage during these winter periods. Let's get it. Set number 2. I'm also gonna get a haircut. But since it's competition in 3 weeks, I don't wanna get it now, because I wanna have fresh haircut for the competition. Always nice. So I think I'm just gonna drag it out now for 1.5 more weeks, and then cut the hair. I don't know. So you will just gotta stand. You just gotta withstand my hairstyle. Good thing is they can hide it with a cap. Let's stop the chit chat and get to work. Whew. Well, it's definitely not easy, but it feels really good. Extremely controlled. I think the form also is pretty good. And that's the point with these deloads. It's not just for me to sit in the sofa and maybe take some walks. It's more just reduce the intensity, still get some good muscle connection, and some time for the muscles to recover. Not necessarily that I'm sore in the body, but I know that my body needs some rest. And I never regret a deload. Rather have too many than too few. But I hate resting. That's why I love this type of training. Still do the same style of training, just have some more help and lighter for the muscles. Win-win scenario. I'm thinking a lot, because it is pretty heavy. It's not like normal ones, but still pretty heavy. Since I can do it slower and more controlled, that increases the time under pressure as well, and makes it harder. So then the help I'm getting, or the fact I'm getting help, it's sort of working against each other from a deload perspective. What I'm thinking of is if I should do 2 sets of everything or just 3, because it is slightly too much. I've been thinking for 40 seconds, to be honest. I think I'm gonna do like this. I will cut it down to 2 sets, because as I mentioned before, I rather want to train a bit too little than too much. If I were to overtrain or get injured, it's literally the worst thing that can happen for competition. So for me to have an extra set, it's not really gonna give me too much either. So I'm gonna do 2 sets only. That makes sure that it's actually a good deload. And that's for all the other exercises as well. Great, now we settled for this. Let's move on. It is time for full planche to one-arm handstand. And now I'm really happy that we settled for the 2 sets. I would have done it either way for this one, because I'm using no bands, so I can't really make this exercise easier. Of course, yeah, I could do straddle planche press, but I'd rather just do full ones to one arm like I would do in comp, and then just do 2 sets. And that's a third of a reduction, so 66% training what I'm usually doing, and that's pretty good for deload. I also got asked a lot about these P-bars, and yes, they are Grenadian P-bars. I got them for 1 month ago or something to just try out and give some feedback to them. So this is a prototype, but they are making something that looks pretty damn similar. I sent some small feedbacks, and it is an upcoming product. I think I can say that much. I haven't been too sure what I can say about them because I wasn't sure that they were gonna produce them. But now I know that they are gonna sell them, so now I can actually say that they are a product of Grenadian. Let's get into the full planche press to one-arm handstand. I will enter my Zen mode like I always do for this one. Put on some banging music and let's slay. I wanna have good form. Fuck, I should have leaned a bit more in the one arm. And I do think I was a bit banana because I felt slight pain in lower back. That's a sign that I'm leaning too much with the hips. But I think the full planche press was pretty damn good. Let's just do one more and then settle with that. Set number 2. Check the footage. Planche press. I am happy with. That's satisfied. The one arm. What I'm doing is I'm not tightening the core enough, so I'm just letting the legs lean over. It's also because I'm lacking some flexibility in the shoulders, so I have to compensate to some degree, but not that much. So just tightening the core is going to be the main factor of making the one arm better. That was way better. Planche felt a bit heavier, but the one arm was much better. Also, the moment you start to think about like, all right, am I connecting the core? Am I connecting the shoulders? Am I pushing the shoulder up? When you think about them, you just understand, damn, now I have connection. But when I just enter a skill and don't really think about what I'm tightening, where is the connection, that's when either the form is bad, I get some light pain, or I can't even hold the skill. This was a pretty good example, because obviously it made a huge difference, and I didn't feel any pain this time, which is a win-win. Now it's time for some Maltese holds. I'm glad it's only 2 sets, because that one is a true shoulder killer. The Maltese hold, still sticking with a pronated grip, which is a damn heavy one. This one is of course also heavy, but I don't know, they're really different. I feel like this is more uncomfortable with the thumbs. They take a lot of pressure, but it's sort of some of the pressure is just taken up by the thumb. It's not necessarily muscles, it's just, all right, your bone is there, so you got some support. Whereas if I'm holding like this, basically all my force is gonna be taken up with the straight arm strength, and that is heavy in another sense. It's more muscles, whereas this is just, if you get comfortable with this grip, I feel like it's a bit easier, or that's the way it's been for me. I'm sticking also with this one because I want to have that one in press, or I think it looks really clean as well. Let's do 2 sets. The holds are gonna be a bit longer than before, since the band is thicker as well. I think that's good. Get some good muscle connection, and I'm still only gonna do 2 sets. I think the total time under tension and intensity is gonna be lower than before, which is what we want. Good deload. Weird, for the full planche doesn't really matter which band I have. Always after Maltese, that one is heavy. It's sort of like my body gets uncomfortable with the planche because it's different connection with Maltese. So when I enter planche, it's just like, how the fuck do I enter a full planche? What's the connection? It's weird. But let's do one more set. The Maltese is the main thing here, and that one was pretty good. I checked the footage to see if my Maltese was wide enough. And I think I had it a bit too tight. That was more towards wide planche, not necessarily Maltese. I think actually I might have to be all the way to the sides here, where the wooden part on the pallets is ending. It's gonna be really Maltese, and heavy. But I wanna get the good form, so that's what we're gonna do. Ah. Now we're done with this one. That Maltese was wide, extremely wide. It felt pretty good. It's a bit different muscles when it's this wide. Can't really say which ones, it just feels different. Wide planche, it's a bit more, I don't know. It's just a different feeling in it. I can't necessarily say which muscles that it is. I don't even know. A lot of shoulders and core though, that's what I know. But it felt good. I think the planche afterwards as well was a bit better than the first set I did. Maybe not. Now it's time for full planche press with resistance band. Let's just do 2 sets of them, and then we have 2 more sets of dips, or 2 sets of dips. Then we can wrap it up. 5 reps, 2 sets. Then I'm claro with this one. Oh, it's harder with the thick band. Was that 4 or 5? Fuck, I suck at counting. Let's do one more. That's a fast entry. I felt a little bit in the lower back. I don't know, it was something with that first one arm. Not too bad. Just need to warm it up a bit better next time, I think, as well. But the planche press was pretty good. Of course, it's getting a lot of help with this band, so I'm expecting the form to be better than usual. One more set. Set number 2. It's still pretty heavy. I would say that planche press is the thing that I'm worst at. It's my weakness. Obviously, because I haven't trained it that much. I used to train only the things I enjoyed, which was a lot of front lever pull-ups and planche push-ups. Planche holds, I slacked a bit. Planche press, I haven't trained too much, which I'm regretting a bit. It's a really good exercise. You gain a lot of strength and other things as well. Other planche moves from that press, since it involves so much control. But truth is, I just didn't enjoy it back then. Didn't train it too much, and of course, I'm now feeling the effect of not training it. I'm training it now, so hopefully I will get stronger in it. I definitely have in just the past months. I've been doing vlogs and training really consistent as well, which is good. So in this year, I think planche press is gonna be more of my strong side again. Or again, for the first time, it will be. Let's move on to dips. Okay, can you guess the weight that I picked? Give you 3 seconds. It is 50 kg. What I did rep a few weeks ago was 70, then I reduced it to 60 kg because I did have some pain in my right shoulder, which is gone now, thankfully. And now, since the deload, I'm just gonna do 2 sets, but with 50 kg, so it's even less. And the dips is just for fun. pretty good. Pretty damn good. Whew. If you look closely, I'm really trying now to get the form pretty good and have shoulders forward. So my body isn't, I'm not necessarily opening up the chest. I'm instead just trying to push it together, have this almost protracted form. Because I know the pain I'm getting is if I'm opening up, fucks up the shoulder a lot. Let's do one more set. And then we are actually completely done for today. Oh yeah, favorite as always. I mentioned this a lot, but I always end with the dips, because then you have something to look forward to in the end. You also get some good pump. Feels like you're doing something. A lot of things with training is you almost need to think that you have to sweat in order to feel like you've done something. It used to be for me as well, like I always had to end it with some almost cardio or high reps just to get a bit exhausted, because otherwise I wouldn't feel like I would perform something. But of course that is not necessarily true. You don't need to sweat in order to actually build some mass or do some training. But I always like to get some extra pump or some more high intensity or high volume in the end. Feels good. But that was it for today. I am gonna wrap it up. I also want to mention about the community. We have some really big news coming soon. So if you're not signed up on the wait list, you'll find it in the description. So you don't miss out. You'll get emails about it when we're actually launching. And it's closer than you think. That's really exciting. And as always, we always need to end it with some light flexing. Not necessarily the most intense workout, but still something. I've also added running to my schedule now, since it's competition pretty soon, just to add a bit more cardio. Then I will burn some extra calories, some degree unconsciously, and then I need to be, of course, still keep my diet pretty strict, but I don't need to change it as much as I would need to if I didn't have the cardio. So if I have some cardio, I will add or be on a slight more deficit, and then I don't need to cut away as much from the food, if that makes sense. Which I like to do it because I hate to cut on food. I'm so bad at it. Like for me to go a bit hungry, even if you get used to it after a while, but the first 2 weeks of being on deficit sucks. So I rather want to burn a bit more calories than just not eat as much. See what we got. Some double bicep first. I also hope today the focus is better. I don't know what it's been, but I've checked all the footage and almost like 50% of the videos, the focus when we do the wrapping up, the flexing, it's just completely off. I don't know why. It's an autofocus, but sometimes technology isn't with you. Let's see tricep. Maybe this side is actually better. I'm also looking at the camera instead of mirror, so it might be that I'm looking right into your soul, which is not the point. I'm sorry if I'm disturbing that. What do we have more? The double arm, that's a standard. Something. Ooh, let's do I'm gonna call it Maltese flex. I'm never really gonna get into bodybuilding. I will most likely never know the correct phrases for everything, but let's call this one the Maltese, and you will always know what I'm talking about. Something, maybe I have to go further down. And as always, I love just some of the poses where I'm just standing, looking a bit more casual. That's decent. I think that's gonna be it. Today was a way better push session than my last one. I think I reduced my vocabulary of swearing with 99%, which is a really good improvement. But we all have our days. But now we're actually back on track. Some deload is gonna be good for me as well, recover properly. And the next sessions next week, we're gonna be back on track with some instruction. And then we're almost at competition day, which is also gonna be exciting. A lot of good things ahead. I will see you guys in the next one. Choo-choo!